Hey, this one is for new lifters or somebody who wants to get started with lifting but is a little intimidated by the gym. I started lifting in 2010 and I was about 48 years old, and I was a little worried about looking stupid, like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't want to give that impression, and I didn't want to get hurt. So today I have 10 things I don't want you to do in the gym and 10 things you should do instead. Hi, I'm Tammy from liftingmyspirits.com, and I make resources for women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who are into lifting, who like to eat, and who need a pep talk every so often. Okay, let's get started with the 10 things I don't want you to do, and they aren't really in any particular order. Number 1, I don't want you to do something called ego lifting. Ego lifting is lifting heavier than you're ready to lift just because you want to see if you can try it and see if you can get it done. Now, when you're a new lifter, keep in mind your muscles are going to be able to handle a little bit more than your connective tissues. You need to give yourself time to acclimate to this new activity. That's why we want you to start with light weight. Don't worry, you're going to be able to add weight later. You'll get stronger. This isn't just true for new lifters. This will be true for anybody who's been away from lifting for a while. Recently, I had surgery and I'm getting back into the gym now, and I'm still going through this process of getting myself acclimated back to being able to do heavier weight before I put that weight on the bar. The second thing I don't want you to do is I don't want you to use momentum when you are performing your reps. No fast explosive movements. When you are starting out in the gym, you need to learn the technique and the form first. You need to put yourself in that frame of mind where you're going to master this movement. So you're going to focus on slow and control movements in the beginning, and keep in mind you're going to be awkward at first as you learn these new movements. You're going to overcome that. Your central nervous system is going to kick in and remember how to do the movement, and you'll get better at it with experience. Don't ignore bracing your core. Use your breath to support your core. So at the beginning of a movement, you inhale and then brace. Consciously brace your core with the inhaled breath, and then when you let the weight down on the other part of that rep, that's when you'll exhale. It doesn't have to be a big dramatic movement. Being mindful of your core being braced as much as you can is going to help you stay safe. Don't load the plates wrong. Now, this is something you'll learn from experience, but since one of the concerns I had is I wanted to look like I knew what I was doing when I started, this was something I kind of paid attention to. Standard barbells weigh 45 pounds. So when you are loading a barbell that's up on a rack, if you put more than 45 pounds on one side, it's going to tip up, and that's not something you want to have happen. Out of habit, I will put the same amount on each side. So if I put 10 pounds on one side, I'll put 10 pounds on the other side, and then I just kind of load my bars in that way. Something else I want to point out to you about working with weights. This is just a 5-pound weight, so it's just here for demonstration. But if you're picking up something like a 25-pound plate or a 45-pound plate, if your gym has these iron plates, like this one, you're going to see there's this lip here. When you grab these, they're on the other side, there's also a smooth side. And what I see a lot of people doing is they will grab it with the smooth side, so their fingers are here and their thumbs are back here. And if it's only 5 pounds, you can handle that. But the heavier ones, there's a better way to grip these. When you're moving them around and then taking them off their like pegs and things, there's a lip here. You can put your fingers underneath here and the thumb on the back and do that. And then you have both hands with a firm grip on that plate. Now, when you break it up to the barbell, I want you to load it like that as well, so that when you go back to unrack it, you grab it here and then you can just pull it off. Okay, number 5, don't look all over the place during a set. So when you're doing a set, and if you're moving your neck around, but even if you're just moving your eyes around, you can start to lose your focus. I want you to pick a place ahead of you where you can focus on that, so that it keeps your neck in a neutral position, and that's going to be for a safety reason. And if you're like me and you wear progressives, you start looking around too much, you can get dizzy. And getting dizzy while you're moving weight, not really a good idea. Don't skip warm-up sets. I'm not talking about like a general warm-up that you do before you even start working out, which I think is a great idea. I do general warm-ups all the time, either walking on the treadmill for about 5 or 10 minutes, or I even like to use a rowing machine for a few minutes because that works out my lower and my upper body. But I'm talking about doing warm-up sets with the weight. This is a mistake I see people doing in the gym all the time. They go right to the machine, or they go right to the dumbbell rack, or they go right to the barbell, and they load up their working set weight. You don't want to do that. Warm-up sets are done with little to no weight, and they are higher rep than what you're going to do for your working set. And each time you do a warm-up set, you add a little bit more and you decrease get the reps. Now, if you'd like to read more about this, there's a link in the description. I wrote a blog about how to do warm-up sets for lifting. Don't wear running shoes for lifting. They have too much padding, and you don't want that much stuff between your foot and the floor. When you're lifting, you need to be touching the floor. You need to be feeling the floor to create a solid foundation for yourself. I'm not suggesting that you make a big investment in lifting shoes, although you can. These are my lifting shoes. Certainly no big investment, but the soles are completely flat, and it allows me to grip the floor and feel like I'm making a connection with the floor. Now, if you belong to a more serious lifting gym, you'll see people in there lifting barefoot, and that's why. Please don't put your feet on a bench during a set. Put your feet on the floor, press down through your heels, and stabilize your glutes and push your low back into the bench, and you have created like a 3-point balance system that's going to give you stability when you are doing upper body movements on a bench. You'll see people put their feet on the bench. They're working under this idea that it's making it harder, but what you're doing is it's making it more likely that you're going to have an injury, you're going to lose your balance, you're going to have a twist. It will seem harder, but it also makes it more dangerous. Don't prioritize planning over doing. We think about what we want to do, and we start researching and we start looking for the best programs, and next thing you know, you have analysis paralysis and you're spending all of your time researching and not actually doing the activity. Remember, anything that you do is better for fitness, even if it's not done perfectly. We learn by doing things, so you have to get started and you have to let that process unfold. Now, I do understand that it's overwhelming and that there is a ton of information. I have a free class called How to Get Fit and Stay Fit After 40. You are welcome to take that class. There is a link in the description. This one is super important, and I maybe should have started with it, but it is: do not take your recovery for granted. The time that you need to recover between workouts may vary. It's going to vary from person to person. It's going to vary depending on the workout, and it's even going to vary depending on how long you've been training. There are certain things that we all need, even though we may need different amounts of these things, but we need them to be able to recover from lifting, so that when you lift the next time, you are not just breaking yourself down and setting yourself up for injuries down the road. You need sleep, you need protein, you need calories, and you need water. So go check out that free class, but also you can jump into this playlist right here that I've made for new lifters.